College of Science. Heartfelt welcome to today's speaker, the erudite, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Bangalore University, Dr. Venugopal K.R. Sir, Principal of the Oxford College of Science, Dr. Kavyashree, Vice Principals Dr. Bharati S. and Professor Gayatri Sudhir, heads of various departments and all the delegates. The noted Irish playwright George Bernard Shaw has aptly said, progress is impossible without change. Change is an opportunity that we need to grab in order to grow. The new National Education Policy 2020 is one such opportunity that aims at reforming our education system to make it more dynamic. It emphasizes holistic, multidisciplinary education for the nation's future stakeholders. As academicians, it is imperative for us to have an absolute grasp of NEP 2020 so that we can herald the policy effectively in our institutions. In this regard, the Oxford College of Science has conducted several deliberations. Even last week, we had a distinguished speaker highlighting the proposed approach of change in Karnataka. But today, we have the Vice Chancellor of our own university, an eminent educationist, Dr. Venugopal K.R., who will elaborate on NEP 2020 Bangalore University implementation perspective, its opportunities and challenges. I request Professor Gayatri Sudhir, IQAC Coordinator and Vice Principal Administration, to present a formal welcome to Sir. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Deepti. Good afternoon, one and all present here. Leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality by Warren Buffett. We have one such great leader who is the resource person for today's webinar, our beloved Vice Chancellor, Dr. Venugopal K.R. Under his leadership and technical expertise, Bangalore University has seen tremendous success. I would like to share Sir's brief profile. He has 40 years of teaching experience in computer science and engineering in University Visvesvaraya College of Engineering. He was the principal of University Visvesvaraya College of Engineering for 15 years. He has illustrious, distinguished and brilliant academic career with 11 degrees including 2 PhDs, one in economics from Bangalore University and another PhD in computer science and engineering from IIT Madras. He has served the UBCE and Bangalore University for over the last 4 decades. He received his MD degree in computer science engineering from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, Bachelor of Engineering in Electronics and Communication from UBCE, and has also obtained degrees in law, journalism, public relations, business finance, economics, industrial relations, and communication. He has published more than 1,000 papers in refereed international conferences and journals. He has 27 patents to his credit. As a special officer, Government of Karnataka, he has successfully restructured Bangalore University into 3 universities: Bangalore University, Bangalore Central University, and Bangalore North University. He has received IEEE Fellow and ACM Distinguished Educator Award from USA for his outstanding contributions to computer science and engineering, and is the first professor from Bangalore University to receive his highest academic award at a university level in this country. His name appears in Who's Who in the World since 1995, Who's Who in America, 2,000 scientists of 20th century and 5,000 personalities of the world. He's a social worker, philanthropist, wonderful achiever, researcher, inventor, inspirer, and a very simple and pleasant personality known for his dedication, charity, commitment, honesty, and sincerity. He has been a leading beacon light and role model for teachers and students of this world. On behalf of the Oxford College of Science, I welcome you, sir.
Namaskara. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I take this opportunity to welcome all the delegates present here. We are eagerly waiting to hear from our beloved Vice Chancellor.
Thank you, ma'am. We are truly honored to host you, sir. I request you to take over the session.
How long do I have? What time? How much time do I have to talk?
Sir,
Kavya. Really? So thank you very much. Thank you, Kavya, for inviting me to deliver a lecture on opportunities and challenges in implementation of national education policy. Thank you, Gayatri Rao, for introducing me. I hope it is the faculty of Oxford College of Science and Humanities, if I'm right. And there are about 63 faculty members now in this program. I do not know what other speakers have spoken earlier, but let me give you a brief glimpse of the bird's eye view of national education policy. The national education policy is one of the most important documents that has been produced by this country after a gap of 5 decades. We had education policy right from 1935 and 1835, Lord William Bentinck, Macaulay educational system. At that time, the British government wanted English to be imposed in this country. They wanted a language as a medium of instruction. They wanted English as the medium of instruction. They knew that when we teach, when we educate people in certain language, then that civilization will get accustomed to the country which practices that language. So with this in the background, Macaulay's education of introducing English in this country was both detrimental and to some extent positive. India was the best in the world 2000 years back. We had the first universities of the world, that is Takshashila and Nalanda. In Takshashila and Nalanda, which are the great exponent of education and knowledge, we see that there were 10,000 students and 1,500 teachers. The library in Nalanda University was one of the biggest in the world, or libraries did not exist anywhere else in the world. When that library was burned down, it was in flames for 6 months. At the time of burning the library, there were 90 lakhs, 9 million books, scripts available in that library. India was the fountainhead of knowledge. India was the fountainhead of education and skill. People across the world came to this country to acquire knowledge. But over 1,000 years, under slavery system, we lost our confidence. Under slavery, we deteriorated. We lost our educational values as well as our efficacy. It is in this backdrop that is after independence, we were able to reform and growing education on to some level so that we can compete globally. So first and foremost was that we have tried to change the educational system by having 9, 10, 11, and 12, 4 years, then 5 to 8, and 2 to 5, and 1 to 2 system. So we would like, if it is to start with, we have classes 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. That means this 5 is broken down to 2 years of education, preliminary education, and another 3, so totally 5 years as a primary education, middle school of another 3 years, and another 3 years to its pre-university or matriculation level, 4 years of degree, and another 1 year or 2 years of PG, and another 3 years of PhD. So if you see the system, 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 plus PG plus PhD, we are trying to change the profile of the educational system in this country by introducing what is known as skill-based learning, knowledge-based learning, innovation-based learning, employment-based learning, career-oriented learning. The new education policy envisages a different approach, an approach that is holistic in nature, an approach that provides employment, an approach that makes everybody skillful, an approach that will be fulfilling and putting India on the global world map. To go into some of the dynamics of this new national education policy, the new national education policy has very nice features. Please, the anchor should know how to control the.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are muting her, sir. Sorry for the interruption.
You must know that. Otherwise, it will be, you see, even after 1 year, if you do not know how to do it. Who is that Seema? Mute, Seema, you are talking? You are controlling? You're not controlling. So I would request all the teachers to mute. If you do not know this fundamental discipline, then how are you going to be a model? Please mute. So it was Kavyashri. Is the principal present there?
Sir,
Plus,
we are
you must know to mute all other people when I'm talking. See, there is disturbance.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please mute Seema. Akshata ma'am.
You can meet. Who is the host? You can meet. If they don't host, see, if you do not.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See, I will know, leave, get, my train of thoughts will be disturbed. Anchor, first mute all the people.
Yes, sir.
First mute all the participants. Okay.
Yes. Sorry.
See, whatever I'm talking, I lose track of whatever I'm talking if you disturb like this. Okay. So, I was talking about an educational system which is interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary, cross-disciplinary, intradisciplinary in nature, multidisciplinary in nature. Each one has its own definition and uniqueness. So we are thinking about a new education policy, a national education policy where information is available. Information is available on internet. Information is available on social media. Information is omnipresent. But how do you transform this information to knowledge? It is through education and educational system. An educational system means an educational institution along with its human resources, that is teachers, and teachers have an important role to play. It is the teachers and the educational infrastructure which is going to transform information into knowledge. It is this educational system, it is this educational institutions, it is these teachers who are appointed in the educational institutions will play a pivotal role in transforming information to knowledge. It is not sufficient that if you just acquire knowledge. Knowledge with skill has to be developed. So what type of skills are you going to develop after your formal education? Knowledge is not degree. Knowledge and skill is not marks. So you might not have a degree, but if you have knowledge and skill, you will be innovative and you will get employment, and that is your career. Steve Jobs did not have a degree. Bill Gates did not have a degree. Dhirubhai Ambani did not have a degree, but they had knowledge and skill. Our approach to new educational policy is that we acquire knowledge and skill through an efficient educational system based on scientific information. So the new national education policy will have steps to go, it will have many steps to climb. So I always devise the 7 steps: information, education, knowledge, skill, innovation, employment, and career. So how do you develop each one of these characteristics to build a robust educational system? So we have seen information is available anywhere, everywhere. Technology has changed. Classrooms have changed. You can get this information on any media, anytime, any when, anywhere, any device, any length of time, any language. So again, 7 different characteristics for obtaining information. You can obtain either through a print media or through a soft media. You can access it anytime through hardware or through hard textbooks, through anyone, that is any teacher. He can be from any university. He can be from any location on this world. You can divide, you can take this information from any device. It can be a laptop, it can be a mobile, it can be a varied form of device. It can work anywhere, any length of time. Sitting down from anywhere, you can spend any amount of time without formal classroom hours. And in any language, you can translate knowledge into the information into any other language. You have audio, video, sliders, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and many other social medias in addition to the web. That is information. Now, educational institution is the second aspect. Educational institution combined with teachers. So how do you have this infrastructure? The infrastructure today is changing. Once upon a time, to start an engineering college, we required 25 acres. To start a medical college, we required 25 acres. Now, to start an engineering college, you require 1.5 acres in a city like Bangalore. So the infrastructure, the land that you require to start an educational institution, and if you want to start online courses, if you have MOOC courses, if you have some time like online system of your educational, we are providing distance education, the land requirement is, infrastructure requirement is much reduced. Dr. Bharat Srinivasan, put off your mute. Don't disturb this meeting.
Akshata ma'am, I request you to mute ma'am, please.
This seems to be a troublesome lecture. Okay.
Very sorry, sir. Very sorry.
You have to know as teachers what you have to do. So that is one of the things which I am trying to explain now. Okay. The educational system. Where did I? The educational system, the infrastructure required for educational system is completely different from the yesteryears in the ancient times. During the ancient days, you could have a Gurukula system. Now, Gurukula system where there was a physical contact between the teacher and the student. Now, you can go under the same Gurukula system, but people are across the world can sit under the trees and still listen to a lecture by a single individual in the entire world. So, the technology combined with the educational infrastructure has transformed the way we deliver education to the next generation. The teachers who are involved in transforming this information to knowledge are very pivotal in the implementation of this new education, national education policy. We have present technology of Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, machine learning, wireless, blockchain technology, online platform, proctoring tools for examination, augmented reality, digital learning, digital integrated learning. solutions, and digital piracy to trouble and digital ethics. This technology has to be ingrained into teachers. It is difficult for teachers to compete with a robot. It is difficult for teachers to compete because they have to compete with the best teacher in the world. So they have to be trained. They have to be facilitators. They have to be facilitators to the students. They have to skill, unskill and reskill, learn, unlearn and relearn. They have to have that innovative pedagogy. It is these teachers who are going to change the future of education in this world. As I told, the infrastructure that is required, whether it may be smart spaces, smart campus, flexible seating arrangements, smart virtual rooms, these are all the things which will reduce the space as well as the human resources in future. The learning skills of the teacher will be completely different. You have to teach now. You have to learn and teach. Learn. I remember the quote from G.P. Rajaratnam, the great literary giant. He said, "When I was a student, I learned from my teachers. When I was a student, I learned from my teachers. And when I was a teacher, I learned from my students." So if you just try to give information to students, that is not sufficient because that is available and nobody will be interested in you, in your classes, in learning from whatever you have spoken. So you have to have a different type of learning approaches to the present students. It can be a bite-sized learning, it can be blended learning, it can be flipped classroom technique. It should be student-centric. It should be project-based learning. It must be a computational learning. It might be a creative learning. It will be a collaborative learning. It might be associative learning or active learning or a meaningful learning process should be inculcated in the students. So their learning process and teaching process will there will be a paradigm shift in transforming education into knowledge by these teachers. Today, we have entered the digital age. In this digital age, the digital responsibility or innovation and pedagogy or information or transformation, or it is like digital toxification or digital alienation or a digital trauma if you overdo it, or digital efficacy, which is much more crucial in implementing the new education policy. Though there is a digital divide between the rural and the urban, there is evolution and revolution of this technology in implementing the national education policy. In your teaching and learning process, you must have empathy, you must have programs which are wellness programs. You have to now move from STEAM to STEM, that is science, technology, engineering, and maths to science, technology, engineering, arts, and maths. That's what this new education policy envisages. So you must be prepared for it. Benjamin Franklin said, "Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I may remember. Involve me and I learn." So the change that has to be brought in teachers is that you have to remember Benjamin Franklin, one of the greatest statesmen of US. A bad teacher complains, average teacher explains, a good teacher teaches, and the great teacher inspires. In Swami Vivekananda's words, he said, he believed education is a manifestation of perfection already existing in a human being. Education is power. and power. Education is knowledge. Knowledge is power. That's what he said. Now, how these teachers are going to transform the student, they build their personality in the student. And how do you develop skills in them? As I told you earlier, it should be project-based learning, experimental-based learning, and it should be of short duration. We cannot hold the attraction of students for hours together. It must be given in doses and small doses. And from that knowledge and skill, you have to develop the temperament of innovation. You have to be scientific development, scientific education should be imparted to students. You know, Thomas Alva Edison did not have formal education. When Thomas Alva Edison left the school, this teacher said that management sent a letter. In that closed letter, sent it to her mother, saying that Thomas Alva Edison should give that letter to his mother. The mother opened the letter and then told Thomas Alva Edison, yes, Thomas, you are a great student. The school wants you to be put in a much higher school because your skill and intelligence is of a much higher level. So Thomas Alva Edison was inspired. The mother did not show that letter to Thomas Alva Edison. Thomas Alva Edison was taught by his mother, and he learned all the science, knowledge, and skill through his mother. He went on to become great scientist, great innovator. He was when he was working on a railway platform in a railway station, his supervisor one day came and saw that Thomas Alva Edison was not in his located place or designated place. He saw him quite far away, but still the railway signal was working. He went and slapped Thomas Alva Edison, and Thomas Alva Edison became deaf on account of that slap on his cheek and ear. Then Thomas Alva Edison went on to conduct his experiment at the railway station. His lab was in one of the bogies of the railway train. Whenever the train used to come and stop at the railway station, he used to go and perform the experiment in his cabin. He was selling newspapers on a platform and went on to become one of the greatest innovators of this civilization. He has 1,893 patents to his credit, US patents to his credit. Then when he grew, and one day, mother had already expired, but one day he saw the diary of his mother. And in that diary, he found the letter which was sent by his teacher. And when he opened, he was shocked and it left him crying. The management of the school had said, your boy, the son is a very naughty person. He is not capable of learning anything. Therefore, we are sending him away from the school. Now you can transfer him get him admitted to some other school. So it is that inspiration, which is the inspiration of his mother, who did not divulge what the management had written in that letter. So the teachers have to be of that nature. Your inspiration is very important. The rest they will do. So how do you inspire the students? How do you inspire them to work? It is this which we have to, inculcate in students. That inspiration, Ekalavya was inspired by Drona. He was not his physical teacher. He was a virtual teacher. So this virtual teacher was more effective than a physical teacher for Arjuna. Arjuna was only benchmarking Drona, Duryodhana and Bhima, and therefore he thought he was the best student. But there was no benchmarking for Ekalavya. It is this benchmarking which brings person to a lower level. Thomas Alva Edison did not have a benchmark. Ekalavya did not have a benchmark. Bill Gates did not have a benchmark. Steve Jobs did not have a benchmark. Dhirubhai Ambani did not have a benchmark. They all grew because of their own skill and knowledge. And through inspiration, that is self-inspiration. But that inspiration, self-inspiration has to come initially by the teacher who teaches and molds the students. So it is in the backdrop of this that I'm saying that you have a 5+3+3+4 educational system. And how should this be when you go on to from your 9, 10, 11, and 12, you move on to an undergraduate course. An undergraduate course is envisaged into 1-year course, 2-year course, 3-year course, 4-year course, 5-year course, 6, 7, and 8-year course. Undergraduate, postgraduate, and PhD. So how do you do this? So it is a multiple entry and multiple exit program. Once you finish, if you enter the first year after your PUC, what is called PUC now, after the first year, you will get a certificate. After second year, if you complete your second year, you will get a diploma. After completing your third year, you will get a degree. After completing your fourth year, you will get an honors degree. After completing your fifth year, you will get an integrated postgraduate degree. After post-graduation, you can do your 6, 7, and 8 for your PhD program. So it can be integrated, you can enter anytime and you can leave anytime. But how do you design? What is the challenge which you're going to see in the design? We are expecting that a person should be ready to get a job. It is a job-based education. In the job-based education, if you want to give him a certificate after the first year, you would like to become a plumber or an electrician or a typist or some form of a communication skill, you can become a PRO, and therefore your first year curriculum should be so strong, so uniform that you take up any subject and any degree that after first year you must be able to get a job. And that is going to be a really tough thing for teachers to plan a curriculum for the first year. Second year, of course, a 3-year diploma course is now will be reduced to compressed to 2 years. And so we have already syllabus. Perhaps we have to make it faster with a trimester scheme or a semester scheme. We'll be able to pack in some material and compress that 3-year to 2-year, so you get a diploma. But if you have a 3-year degree course, then you must be able to read or you must be able to acquire more information and more knowledge during the 3 years so that you will get a degree. Now, if you are able to prolong your studies, if you are able to continue in the 4th year, then you will be awarded honors degree. You can combine your honors degree with a postgraduate program, and that will be an integrated postgraduate combining UG and PG course, and therefore you will be getting a degree, PG degree at the end of the 5th year. And as I said, 6th, 7th year, 8th year, you can always earmark for your PhD program. Now, designing the first year is very challenging and difficult. Designing second year, okay, you have to compress the 3-year diploma course into 2 years. A third 3-year degree course is already existing. A 4-year degree course with a honors is a preamble to the postgraduate. And a 5, 6, and 7, or 6, 7, and 8 envisages your further research or research programs. Now this is with respect to the number of years, that is 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, that 4 can be extended up to 8 for including your PG and PhD program. Now, how do you do your research? Or if you want to go from the last step, that is 6, 7, and 8, how do you do? You must have 2 types of institution, research institution and teaching institutions. Everybody do not want to pursue research. Everybody do not want to get a PhD degree unless you are a teacher. So the research programs should be slightly discontinuous from your PG program. So the 5, 6, and 8 have its own standard. You must have requisite funding. Those institutions should have state-of-the-art laboratories so that we can compete globally. It is the government as well as the public-private participation which helps in establishing a state-of-the-art research institutions with fully equipped laboratories and laboratories which have, the enough competitive, which is of the latest gadgets which can be used in these experiments. So how do you get these funds? How do you get these funds? The funds are very difficult. So you have to crowdsource the funds, and you must have private participation. You must have participation from the corporate. You must have fees should be there. Fees should be increased for the students, and there must be central and state government participation to earmark at least a sizable amount of funds for establishing state-of-the-art research institutions in this country. We must be able to transform. We must have at least 100 research institutions in this country. Research institutions, for example, Bangalore University can be a research institution without any affiliation. The Bangalore University in Dhanabharati can be a research institution. The Mysore University at Manasa Gangotri can be a research institution. So it is this universities without any affiliation will have to go into the next mode, next level, next step of higher learning. We are now involved in conducting examination, announcing result for affiliated colleges. Now that will no longer be in the new education policy. In the new education policy, we will see that every college, affiliated college is autonomous and independent. They can give their own degree, and whatever they teach, whatever the knowledge and skill they impart, that will be their standard. And what I propose is there must be also an exit examination. Because right now we have a private university, we have a deemed university, we have an autonomous college, we have an affiliated college, we have a government college, and all this will have a different standard of examination. And therefore the students, when they come out, we do not know what will be their quality and what will be their knowledge level and skill level. So it is very essential, important that we have some uniformity in an exit exam. And that exit exam will determine whether you are employable, whether you can get a good job. And that is going to be really difficult, because once you try to, see all the students, all the colleges becomes, autonomous, and they have their own degree giving system, examination system, then what is the measure which is there, or what is the regulation which is there to make at least students of good quality, better quality come out from each one of these institutions? So it is this challenge which you're going to face. The third one, there are many institutions which are not doing well. There are many institutions which have infrastructure. There are many institutions which are overcrowded, but they do not have infrastructure. So how do you, transform this? It is at this point, we are talking about integrating sharing of resources, amalgamating of the institutions in order to have the economies of scale. The economy of scale means you integrate 2 or 3 trusts will come together, and then they will be able to run the institution in a much better and efficient manner and most economical manner. It is just like cooperative farming, cooperative education, and that becomes very difficult. You cannot amalgamate the trust, because even people will be skeptical about sharing the resources. Then now you are talking about disaffiliation, autonomous status for everybody, and then you are talking about bringing about uniformity in the education system. And the third one, you are talking about amalgamating all the educational institutions which are not doing well, so that you can have economy scale. And then these are the challenges which you're going to see. And how are you going to integrate or amalgamate all these institutions so that we can have a meaningful and a very powerful institution which can cater to a higher quality of education to the students, impart high quality education to the students. It is this challenge which you are going to be very difficult in years to come. It is this one which you're going to find it difficult in years to come, that when you try to make all the institution independent, how are you going to amalgamate? How are you going to conduct the examination? How are you to bring the uniformity and higher quality in the students who are coming out of this institution? It is going to be an Herculean task. Now, we have another most important called Miru. Miru is multi. multidisciplinary educational research institutions. This the educational research institutions, say IITs and IIMs and triple ITs and many more institutions which are leading institutions will be able to get themselves converted into multi-educational research institution. That is art, science, commerce, engineering, medicine, everything will be combined in those institutions. Students will be coming out, and this is what happens in developed countries. It is really, very heartening to see that in those educational institutions, it is really multidisciplinary, and this multidisciplinary will be the order of the day of the new educational policy and national education policy. Language is one of the important thing which you have to see in the new education policy. You have to teach, you have to make, you have to, teach the students. You have to have formal preliminary education in your mother tongue. You must be able to have a native mother tongue, your mother tongue, a native language, a local language, a state language, a national language, an international language. I always prefer 5 languages. The more the languages you study, the more the languages you acquire, you will be in a better position to get employed and compete globally. How do you do that? You know, mother is the first tongue. Mother is the first language. She will be able to deliver in her own style to the child. That is called mother tongue. The mother tongue may not be the native language. The native language is acquired by the child in the surroundings. And when they are playful, when they are children till 5 years, that is the native language which they acquire. But once they go to the primary section, it is the local, it is the primary medium of instruction. And what will be that primary medium of instruction? That language should be the state language. So you will have what is known as a mother tongue, native language. Then you have a state language. But for a pride, you must have a national language. And that is there already in this country. There is this country. And to compete globally, English is necessary. And perhaps you can add one more language, French or Chinese or just Spanish or German or whatever language you want. The more rich you are in language, you will be better employable and you will have better knowledge and skills because you can read books from others. But of course, translation may be available in future, but that is not sufficient when you want to reach the original works in their own native language and their own national language. So language is one important medium which you're going to find difficult to introduce in this country because of its diversity. Then how do you, what is this educational policy? Think so. The stakeholder consultation and drawing timelines is necessary for this policy to succeed, while bottom-up approach is required or top-down approach for efficient implementation. A model act, statutes, and regulations should be immediately framed and circulated to all the states for uniform implementation. That's why we say national education policy. When you have a national education policy, we become stronger, we become globally competitive, and we will be able to achieve success as we had achieved success 2000 years back. We need to identify 100 autonomous government institutions in this country immediately. At least 50% of the learners through the school and higher education system will have exposure to vocational education by the year 2025. There will be at least one large multidisciplinary institution in or every district by 2030. The system of affiliated colleges will be gradually phased out. The present nomenclature such as deemed university, affiliating technical university, unitary university will be done away with and replaced by university in the next 15 years. All the higher educational institutions shall be multidisciplinary educational institutions with 3,000 or more students by the year 2040. To conclude, I say we must have a holistic education. I used to always tell that the student should practice yoga for body, healthy body, then mind, health for your mind, it is the meditation, and for keeping your lungs intact, it is pranayama, walk for your heart, and have good food for your stomach and intestine, have good sleep and good thought. When you follow the 7 principles, the Sapta Sutras, you will get holistic education, and along with whatever I have told along with in the earlier, my talk. So I repeat once again that you must have yoga for your body, meditation for your mind, pranayama for your lungs, and food for good food for your stomach and intestine. You sleep for 8 hours daily and have good thought. Then you will see that you would have achieved success. The student would have achieved whatever he wanted. The government would have, the country would have achieved whatever it wanted. The teachers would have grown in their stature and they would have molded this country. Teachers are in the forefront. They are this country, if it has to become Vishwaguru, it is in the hands of the teachers. And I'm very sure that this country will become Vishwaguru once again because of its inherent qualities, inherent spiritual health, inherent cultural health, inherent physical health, inherent mental health, all this emotional stability, we will be able to, see that this country achieves its glory once again and become Vishwaguru. The new education policy envisages holistic and empowerment with employability. The proof of the pudding is in its implementation. The state government should come out with a document for implementation of the NEP suited to the state needs. The state government should bring in all administrative and legislative measures necessary for effective implementation of NEP next 1 year. There are formidable challenges in implementation of NEP. Let us hope that India will rise from the ashes and regain its lost glory. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to address you. And I think I have crossed my time limit of 40 minutes. I can only say one of the quotes of Abdul Kalam, you have to have great dreams. Great dreams of great dreamers are always transcendent. Dreams as not as that, not that which you see while sleeping, it is something that does not let you sleep. Dream, 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 and dreams transform into thoughts, and thoughts results in action. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity. Thank you, Kavya, for
Thank you, sir.
asking me to deliver this lecture.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. We once again apologize for the inconvenience caused during
No,
your
no,
session.
no problem, no problem.
Sir,
It is all, it happens.
is it possible for you to take 1 or 2 questions, sir, that have come from the delegates?
Yeah, I will take just 1 minute. Give me 1 minute.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure. If the participants have any queries for sir, you can put it in the chat box.
Yeah, please ask the questions. Go on with your questions.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Kavya?
So there is a question that one of the teachers is asking: when there are multiple disciplines, which will be the governing body?
Every institution is the multidiscipline. There will be only one governing body.
Okay,
You
sir.
cannot, the governing body will have, it will have all the disciplines. You cannot have a separate governing body for each discipline. I do not know what you're talking about, whether you're talking about board of studies or board of examinations or the chairman of the governing council, or it is the final management which has to take decision.
Sir, I think what they meant was that like how we have UGC, AICT and all, when everything combines together, which will be the body that will take care of it?
See, there will be higher educational institution, HEIs, and that will govern all the statutory bodies will be merged into it, except medicine and law.
Okay.
So
Okay,
they'll, the institutions will be existing, but under a different name and one apex body called higher educational institutions. And it will have regional HEIs. It will have state HEIs.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. There's one more. Sir, will there be no mandatory subject for a particular course? For example, a student needs to take maths if he has to join
No.
physics.
So what will happen? There will be core subject, there will be peripheral subject, there will be subjects. That's why I told you have to, I did not talk much about transdisciplinary, cross-disciplinary, interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary. All this disciplinary means you'll have some core courses, you'll have some superficial courses, you'll have courses from other subjects which are not related to you at all. You can take any of these courses and then you have to complete the number of credits.
Okay, sir. And sir, there's one last question. Sir, from when the NEP will come into effect, and what about the transition plans for Bangalore University?
We are expecting the NEP to see. So far, they have not. They have set up the committees for each discipline, and the universities heads, the vice chancellors have been made chairmen and also members of the committee. So they will give a report by July 31st. Maybe we will send that to the central government if it gets approved there, and they are also in the implementation progressing in their implementation. Then it will be passed. Higher educational institutions. Educational institution has to be set up. We're merging all the AICT and all these institutions. Once we merge these institutions, maybe by November, November will be able to. By November will be able to. By November will be able to. Start to the NEP. That is the earliest, or it will go on to the next year. But we have to start by November. That's what we are thinking in Karnataka. We do not know the status of other things. And once it is implemented in Karnataka, it is among all universities, including Bangalore University.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you so much for stressing the importance of innovation, inspiration by the teachers, and skill for the success of NEP in our country, so that we can produce globally competitive graduates. Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Indeed,
yeah.
Gratitude is the most exquisite form of elegance. At this juncture, I sincerely thank our chairman, Sri SNVL Narasimharaju, and I extend my deepest gratitude and appreciation to the heart and soul of today's webinar, our speaker, Dr. Venugopal KR, for sparing his precious time to be with us today. We are truly grateful to you for joining us today, sir. Thank you.
Okay, ma. Thank you, ma.
I humbly thank Dr. Kavyashree, Dr. Bharti S, and Professor Gayatri Sudhir for providing such a stimulating platform for all of us. To heads of various departments and all delegates, my heartfelt appreciation for their support in making this webinar a fruitful and enriching experience. I hope you all will join us in all our future deliberations on NEP. Thank you and have a nice day. I request the participants to fill up the feedback form. The link has been posted in the chat box. Thank you, one and all. Thank you, sir. The meeting will be on for another 5 minutes so that you all can access the feedback link.